Let's look at polynomial functions. So say we are given the function f of x equals 3x squared plus x minus 5. And let's say that we're asked to find f of negative 1. What that means is we look for the function named f. Here it is. This is our function named f. And instead of x, we want to evaluate this function at negative 1. So just like we did back in previous chapters, this means where you see the x, you want to replace it with a negative 1. So if we rewrite what we have, where you see the x, you write a parenthesis. Rewrite everything else exactly the same, just where you see the x, write a parenthesis. And then what this is telling us is inside that parenthesis, put a negative 1. And then we can simplify it down. Negative 1 to the second means negative 1 times negative 1, which is 1. So this will give us 3 times 1, plus negative 1 minus 5. 3 times 1 is 3, negative 1 and 5. 3 minus 1 minus 5. 3 minus 1 is 2, minus 5 is negative 3. Let's try again. Let's say we are asked to find f of 2. Well, this means rewrite exactly what you have, but instead of writing the x, write a parenthesis. Now this is telling us, in the place of that parenthesis, put a 2. Then we have 2 squared is 4, so this is asking us for 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14, minus 5 gives us 9. Let's try one more. What if you are asked to find f of 0? So we rewrite, leave a parenthesis where you see the x, and in that parenthesis, this is telling us to put in a 0. Well, 0 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Let's look at adding and subtracting some functions. So for this example, let's say you're given two functions. F of x equals negative 4x plus 1, and g of x equals 6x plus 2. So you have two functions named here. You have function f, and you have function g. The f in the beginning and the g in the beginning are the function names, so that way you can refer to them. So if you are asked for the value of f plus g of x, this means that you need to add function f plus function g and leave the variable as x. So that means rewrite what you had from function f, so in this case negative 4x plus 1. Add to that from right here what you have for function g, in this case 6x plus 2, and then combine your like terms and simplify. If we look at our like terms, we have negative 4x plus 6x, that gives us 2x. 1 plus 2, that gives us 3. Let's try again. What if you were asked for f minus g of x? Well, it starts off the same way, but instead of having our plus right here, we would have minus. But we need to be very careful. If it's helpful when you have your subtraction to think of this whole piece in parentheses, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because we have to remember that this subtraction is applying to both pieces. So for example, you have negative 4x minus 6x. Well, negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And then you have 1 minus the 2. Well, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Let's look at some more. Let's use some new functions. We have 3 of them this time, so let's scoot it over. So let's say f of x equals x squared minus 9, and g of x equals 2x, and h of x equals x minus 3. So the first one we're going to find is f minus g of x. So that means we want our f of x, which in this case is x squared minus 9. And then we're subtracting, so let's go ahead and put in that parenthesis. And then we want g of x. G of x is right here, and that is 2x. It's still evaluated at x, so we'll still leave in the x. So now we have x squared. I don't have any x squareds in there, so that stays as x squared. I don't have any x's here, minus 2x, so minus 2x. We have minus 9, but we don't have any more constants, so just minus 9. Let's look at another one. So we have f plus g of x. So we start with our f of x. So that is x squared minus 9. And then this time we have plus. And g is 2x. So if we simplify it down, we start with our highest power, so x squared. I don't have any more x squareds. Then I don't have any x's here, so I have plus 2x. I don't have any more constants, so there we go. Let's try the next one. We have g minus h of x. Well, g is 2x. It's asking for minus, so let's go ahead and put in that parenthesis so we don't forget. And then it is asking for h. H is right here, and that is x minus 3. So let's simplify this down. So we have 2x minus x. Well, that just gives me 1x. And we have 0, no constants over here, minus negative 3. So that's plus 3. And let's look at the last one of this group. We have g minus h of 10. Well, what this means is now, instead of leaving it with the variable x in like we did here, now we want to find g minus h, but replace x with 10. So we already found g minus h was x plus 3, so we can pick that up there. It's just the same, g minus h, g minus h. So it's the same work that we had here. So now, instead of the x, just like we had from before, let's go ahead and leave a parenthesis, and then we'll have our plus 3. But inside that parenthesis, we're told we need 10. 10 plus 3 gives us 13. Let's try one more like that. So we have f plus h of negative 2. So the first thing that we need to do is find f. So here's f, and that is x squared minus 9. And then we have plus, and then we need h. H is x minus 3. So let's simplify this down, and then we will figure out our negative 2. So if we simplify this down, we get x squared plus x. Negative 9 plus negative 3 is negative 12. And then in the place of our x, we need to leave a parenthesis. And we were told to use negative 2. So we'll put in our negative 2, or negative 2. Negative 2 to the second power is 4 plus negative 2 minus 12. So when we simplify that down, we get negative 10. Now another way to do this would have been to consider that negative 2 in this step right here before you even simplified it. Either way will work and you'll get to negative 10 as your final solution.